Hey everyone, welcome back to On the Couch. I'm your host, Tony. Here with my co-host, Uche.
Welcome back, everybody, to another installment of From the Couch.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, over the course of the last couple of weeks, man, we've covered on tons of different topics and had some good laughs doing it. Got some great information.
Oh yeah, that recruiting episode.
Yeah, it was nice. So hopefully, folks that are listening is able to get some info from that. But a couple of things that you and I, when we first started out talking about putting a podcast together, education being like a key component to that. And one of the things that I definitely wanted to touch on, and this is really where your wheelhouse is, which is the security side of stuff. So, I'd like for you to kind of give an overview of what you've done with the company, what you've done with kind of everyone within the company, some ties into the CMMC and then this 171. So if you could just kind of take just a couple minutes and first of all describe what those are, because first I remember the first time you said something to me about it, I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I know we need it, and then I was hearing it from our securities folks, and they're asking, hey, what's our status on that?
Well,
so
I don't want to speak on what the company does from our CMMC standpoint yet, because we're not all there yet,
Right.
Don't want to put that out there. But I can definitely touch on, what CMMC is and how it's going to affect us and other companies.
Right on.
So pretty much CMMC is sort of a certification that a lot of companies are going to be seeking over the next couple years, basically saying that you guys have to be up to this certain level of cybersecurity. Your companies have to be certified up to this point, basically. Sort of because I guess prior to CMMC, it was secure yourselves how you see fit.
Right.
Now they're trying to implement some type of federal guidelines saying you have to be up to this standard to even work with us, which is good. I mean, it should have been in place a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah. So now they're just rolling that out, and there's been a lot of changes. To be honest, with CMMC, everything's kind of all over the place.
Right.
And initially started out with categories 1 through 5. Then I want to say November of 2021, they dropped it to it's no longer 5 assessments. It's now down to 3.
Okay.
So there's a category 1, level 2, and a level 3. So yeah, a lot of companies are going to be seeking. Most people are going to seek that level 2, depending on your contract clauses. Some contracts will contain DFAR's 2017 clause.
Okay.
And that's level 3 minimum. Some contracts will contain DFAR's 7012, that's level 2. And then level 1 is pretty much just a self-assessment submitted to SPRS.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know we had touched on a little bit about our efforts as a company at Weeghman Briggs, getting certified and being able to help out other small businesses that are in our environment, or just providing service, to other companies and getting them spun up. So I know that there's a workshop or as well as a class that you're taking. Over the course of the next few weeks here and whatnot, and that will. I guess that's probably continued education.
Yeah, so what that is the CMMC accrediting body. They're the ones conducting, they're in charge of everything CMMC AB, the rule making, the classes, certification, everything.
Okay.
And they are, basically, they're going to put out a test. The test isn't even out yet. The test comes out, I think last I read, it comes out in the fall, so October of 2022. And basically, from now till then, people seeking, for us, we're seeking to be a C3PA, a certified third-party assessment organization. That's where we'll go in and conduct assessments, levels 1 through 2. That's the rule, you can't do 3.
Right.
Levels 1 through 2, and you can either pass or fail other companies or help them get that certification level that they're seeking.
Okay.
And the class basically is I'm losing my train of thought here.
It's that COVID from a couple weeks ago we talked about.
Gosh. Okay. But in the class, that's what I was talking about. The class is you're training to be a certified assessor or a CCP, which is a certified CMMC professional.
Okay.
Yeah, and classes range between $2,000 to $5,000. There's a $200 application fee. You do all of that. you have to get approved also. They want people obviously to have some type of cyber background.
Right.
And once you pass all of that, then you pretty much become a CMMC certified professional, and you can work with other C3 PAOs and conduct assessments on other companies.
Yeah, I know that we had touched on that kind of being your wheelhouse and a part of the company that Weeghman Briggs will be, supporting other companies, and you kind of running that show and bringing in the right people to help us help others. So how does that tie in, or is there any affiliation with whatsoever with the NIST 171?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the whole CMMC is pretty much, it's NIST 171, just federal, basically saying, no, you guys have to be certified now.
Right.
That's really all it is. It's just kind of same controls. Well, yeah, now it is. Before, so now we're on CMMC 2.0. Before we were on, I guess, the first CMMC phase. And that one said you have to have like 130 controls.
Okay.
And this 171 is only like 114, I believe. So it was like, okay, after you make sure you have these 114 controls, how are we going to make up for the other 16 controls?
Right.
So a lot of people were asking those questions, and that's why they eventually just said, okay, let's just make this all now based off NIST 171.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty much, CMMC is, I want to say, NIST 171. But don't quote me on that.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting because we talk about as a company ensuring the security aspect of personal information, corporate information, preventing issues of corporate espionage, all these different things that you hear about on the news, and the intent is for us to stay secure and to ensure that we keep all of our data as secure as possible.
Absolutely.
And so, I think that there's a great opportunity for us as a company in providing that service and support to help others get to the point where we're at currently, and then eventually to where we will be at as a certifying company. But, I think that there is some importance that we need to kind of focus and hone in on, as well as getting people familiar with some of the terminology.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that that's probably one of the struggles that I have outside of that world is, getting an understanding of, some of the nomenclature that you've used in past, and I'd go back to my office and
Google.
What did he say? So kind of, can you give maybe a few common phrases or terms that you hear people ask questions on?
Yeah. So I before I said, I think I said C3 PAO, that's Certified Third Party Assessment Organization. Then there's CCA, Certified CMMC Assessor, CCP, Certified CMMC Professional. There's SOC, is it SOC or OSC? Organization seeking certification. There's a lot of terminology,
right?
A lot of acronyms.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where mass confusion comes from. I mean, specifically in the world that I've worked in for the last almost 20 years has been a lot of acronyms, and then adding new acronyms or acronyms that are used elsewhere. And when you make a statement on something and you'd use an acronym, and I think to myself, like, well, that doesn't really make sense at all. That's why I'd go back to the office and Google.
A lot of times, like even with CMMC professionals, they sometimes have a hard time. There's like Reddit forums and LinkedIn pages and groups where we're like, hey, what did you know what this meant? Because I didn't know what this meant either. Like even some of the professionals are confused by the terminology because it's all coming from the DoD.
Right.
So we're all just like, we're trying to dissect it the best we can and exchange information on what things could mean, and then it'll trickle down to you guys, the normal folk.
Yep. So, and I think that's spot on, and it's awesome to hear that within the securities community that you still have platforms of being able to teach and learn. Exactly, and that's another reason why we do the podcast here as well. Exchange information, educate one another as often as we possibly can on things that we either struggle with understanding. We may have a ton of knowledge on it, and we will just want to broadcast that info out. So, I'm definitely appreciative of you not only being the co-host, but also jumping on and giving a little bit of background about what it is that you do to help us as a company, but also, educate some of our listeners on terms and information that you've obtained over your career and over your education, and continue to help others that may have massive interest in this. And heck, as I said before, the goal is for you to run your own portion of this ship.
Yeah.
So maybe just doing this broadcast here, you may get a few folks that say, hey, Uche, I'm interested in working at Weeghman Briggs with you. So.
Yeah, anyone who's interested in CMMC, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I have the information. I'm more than happy to share. I'm always seeking information too. So
and that, I think that's one of my favorite things about you, is the fact that if you don't know something, you're looking it up, and then you're turning around and turning that knowledge that you've created into teachable knowledge.
Teachable knowledge.
Yep. Yeah.
It's the name of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So, once again, thank you again for giving us some info, some updates from a company standpoint. Got a few cool podcasts that'll be coming here over the course of the next couple weeks. Me personally, I got a trip that's coming up.
You're going to Greece, right?
Yeah, and so I'm probably going to try to do a few videos, and maybe I can kick those back.
Call?
And while you host yourself here solo, or maybe you can grab one of the maybe you can get Jen back on. I don't know. She might be interested in doing that. But I'd like to be able to connect from the other side of the planet and kind of do something
we can
something different.
We can Zoom call you.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, so. But once again, thank you for coming on, and thank you, listeners, for joining us once again. And as always, if you have any questions, click the box down below, shoot us an email, ask away, and that's it from the couch.
From the couch. Peace.